Now, Titi is a certified breastfeeding specialist and the founder and CEO of MilkyExpress. For the last of the series on breastfeeding, we are focusing on tips on how working moms, right, can successfully breastfeed their babies exclusively.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's the way we're going to wrap up this month of breastfeeding.
Yes.
So tell us what we need to know about this.
Okay, so as a working mom, I mean, I myself, I used to be in 9 to 5 when I had my baby, and I understand that it's very difficult to be able to continue to give your baby breast milk while, you know, you're working. But one of the first and the most important things is to be able to have good child care services. So either you have a nanny that is coming to the house, or a nanny that is staying over, or you have a good creche where you're taking your baby. However, whichever option you choose, it should be somebody that is reliable and someone that you're confident in to be able to leave your baby with them. And then another thing to look out for is how you want to express your milk.
Okay.
So we have breast pumps, and you can also do this by hand. So we have here an electric breast pump. We also have a manual breast pump, and then you can also use hand expression. So with all of these three methods, you're able to express breast milk, and then you can store it. Most people don't know that breast milk can be stored in a deep freezer for up to 6 months.
Yes.
So you can store breast milk in the deep freezer, you can store breast milk in the fridge, and you can actually leave it on the countertop for like 4 hours. So when breast milk is stored in the freezer and you bring it out and it thaws, right? You shouldn't freeze it again. Exactly. Don't freeze it again. The baby has to eat that day, right? And we always advise that when you want to offer your baby, when you're heating up the milk, don't put it on the stove or put it on you know, don't put it in the microwave, because you're never able to gauge the temperature. What you can easily do is get some hot water, put it in a bowl, and then sit the bottle of milk in that water. Okay. So let's not put it in the microwave. Let's not, you know, put it up on the stove. Let's not do any of that. And it's also important that you teach your child care minders how to properly wash the bottles. Because it's very important. A lot of times the bacteria could hide like in the nipple teeth of the bottle, and we're not washing it properly. So they have to know how to properly wash the bottle. They have to know how to properly sterilize the bottle to avoid infections. Exactly. So with all of that, you know, also making sure that in your workplace they know that you're a breastfeeding mom, so that you have time, you have your break time where you can express milk and then store it. A lot of offices these days have fridges, so you know, have a bag where you can put all of your pump things, and then have another little bag where you can label and say breast milk and put it in the fridge so that nobody goes there and drinks the yogurt in the fridge. Yes. I know, it's happened so many times. It does.
It's so tasty.
It does.
Yeah,
so you have to label it, then put it in the fridge so people know that it's breast milk. So I mean, with all of this, it's now easier for moms to be able to work and still offer their children or their babies
buying breast milk off the internet? You know, there are some people that actually make a business of it. Expressing breast milk, storing it, and selling it to moms who probably can't breastfeed, or would rather just have breast milk come from elsewhere. Would you recommend buying such? So there are people who sell it personally. I don't recommend that because it's not tested. So we have milk banks, and there's a process for testing the milk when it goes through the milk bank. So it's always better to go through the milk banks. However, the milk banks don't sell breast milk. They would offer breast milk based on the children who need it the most. Children who are maybe in the incubator, or children who don't have their mothers around to be able to breastfeed. Okay, so it's not recommended to buy, because I know some people actually make businesses of this online, selling breast milk. Okay, so let's talk about expressing the milk. Some people don't know how to do that, like properly express. And so you find some other struggles. Some say, oh, the process of expressing is very painful, and you realize that it's because they're probably not placing it well. Could you explain that better? Okay, sure. I'll show you here. So when you're expressing, you have to make sure that the nipple actually goes into this hole, right? It should be like this. Okay. Could you turn that to the camera? Okay. So it should be like this. You want to make sure that the nipple is exactly in the middle, so that when there's suction, the nipple moves freely. Like a baby's mouth. Exactly, into the hole. So, but when we don't place it properly,
there's not, when there's suction, the nipple is going to be rubbing against the edges, and then things like that could cause the nipple bruises that people complain of. Another thing is that you can actually lubricate this. Yes, it can leak and come out. Yes, you can just put some oil, olive oil, coconut oil, just right here for smooth, back and forth movement. And another thing is that the suction power. So a lot of times, we apply too much suction, more than the breast can handle, more than the nipples can handle. And then in cases like that, you find that the mothers begin to have nipple trauma and injuries and stuff like that. So it's different for everybody. But what I always advise is that when you pump, pick the one that is most comfortable for you. Pumping should not hurt. So if it's hurting, we're not doing something right. So pick the suction power that is most comfortable for your breast. And as a matter of fact, both breasts can have different suction power, that they can work with. So pick the one that is most comfortable for you and work with it.
Okay, so how can you determine your suction power? Because especially for a new mom who is just learning all of these things, and then you tell the mom, know your suction power, and she's looking at you like, are you serious?
Yes, what that simply means is know the level that is comfortable for you. So most electric pumps have different gauges of suction power, from the lowest to the highest. So try it out, start from 1, move to 2, move to 3, until you get which one is comfortable for you. If you move to the highest and you feel that it hurts, then go back.
Okay.
Take it down,
That's for electric pumps. So how then do you determine that using the manual pump?
So using the manual pump, usually it can go as far back. It also has the various suction power in terms of how far back it goes, because you're the one applying the pressure. Right? So you don't want to squeeze too much. If you realize that when you squeeze too much, it hurts a lot, don't squeeze too much. Just squeeze halfway, and squeeze up until the point that is comfortable for you.
Okay, so you determine what point is comfortable for you.
Exactly.
Okay, that's for expressing. Now I see this bag. What is it about?
So this is a pump bag.
Okay.
This is a pump bag, and this is an electric pump. Yes. So, you need the bag because you will have everything inside. So your bottles, your cooling bag, everything would be inside here. So it's easier for you to move all these parts around. You're not trying to carry, bottles in this hand, pump in that hand. It makes it easier to, keep everything in place and move around.
Okay. So when I get this bag and I want to put a cooling bag into it, how can I get a cooling bag? Is this something I can make manually?
You can buy that. A lot of they sell it in the market these days. It's just a small cooling bag. Some people even use coolers, so you can actually use a regular cooler, a small cooler with ice in it, exactly, and then just put your milk to sit in.
Because it's always good to have options. There are some people that probably might not be able to afford what is necessary in that regard. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's been a fantastic month talking breastfeeding, and Titi has been such a good sport on that. Thank you.
Thank you.